I'm in anthropology right now. I'm learning a lot about primatology, so I got chimps on the brain.
So just to clarify, chimps are eating babies in Japan.
No, not chimps, monkeys. I don't remember the species. I think in Japan they're called macaques or macaques. I might just be talking on my ass right now, by the way.
Is the macaque in the room right now?
I hope not, otherwise he's gonna kill me.
Hey there, I'm Leanna Bressan, the online editor for the Griff.
And I'm Zach Dafoe, the digital content editor for the Griff.
Welcome to the Griff After Dark.
This is a bi-weekly recap of all things Griff, MacEwan, and downtown Edmonton. And today we brought with us a sweet Liam Newbigging, everyone's favorite news editor. Say hi, Liam.
Hey guys, how's it going?
We also have, for the first time, a contributor, Kelsie Howlett, who will be recording and will be editing this disaster. Thank you very much, Kelsie. Let's get a hand. So, things are super tense, super uncomfortable around campus. We had a mental breakdown of the State of University address, and recently Liam has written a very fairly worded article about that. What was it like standing in that atrium?
Yeah, it was definitely a tense moment, Zach. I was sweating, and it's that moment where, like, you understand what's happening, and then there's an uncomfortable silence. And you kind of look around at everybody else, and you're like, oh yeah, this is happening. This is an interesting moment that's going on. And for those who don't know, yes, there were protesters who were hanging out in the crowd at this university address thing where Dr. Annette Trimby, MacEwan's president, talks about the university and updates and stuff. And then there's a Q&A session. At the Q&A session, protesters started asking questions about Palestine, Gaza, questions that made the room, like, I'm not going to put too much opinion on this, but it was a tense moment.
That is basically what happened, and your article about it is not giving an opinion, but it feels tense. It's a sequence of events that when you place them back to back, you're like, this is not looking great for the institution. And props to John Archer, who is working overtime to find a way to make this make sense. I wasn't there. I had other things going on. Leanna, you're suspiciously quiet. How are you feeling right now?
I'm good. I wasn't there, and personally, I don't care about the State of University address. I feel like it's just bullshit the whole time.
So you're an anti-Semite.
No. Whoa.
Welcome to the new media cycle.
No, I think I don't think the protest, I think the state of address, like, that whole process is just bullshit. It's just selling us stuff that we don't need or care about.
It feels very self-congratulatory of the 1.5 times I've been aware of its existence. I took Amanda as my +1 to the Grateful Gathering, which is like a big gathering of all the donors and stuff like that for MacEwan grants and bursaries. Very similar vibe. People patting themselves on the back. Look how good we're doing. We're doing so much good. I'm wondering how expensive that event is to put on and how many more grants you could afford there. I'm critical of the institution.
I mean, that's our jobs, though. Like, especially Liam's, to be critical of our institution. Like,
I'm an asshole about it. Liam's actually a good journalist. He gives the right reply. Just scream people down.
Well, going back to what you said about, like, being in that area when, you know, they're being kind of congratulatory. So what happens when that congratulatory air, that vibe, gets completely broken by some protesters? It kind of changes the vibe, changes the feel, and also, do you think they were prepared for it?
Ooh. I think for sure they got wind of it. I personally haven't listened to, like, any of the transcript from the Q&A portion. You have, right?
Yeah.
So, depending on Trimby's answers, how were they? Were they scripted?
Oh, definitely not. I think there were some, like, notions of, like, okay, this is what we might do. I don't think they were prepared for it. I don't think they anticipated it. That was the feeling I got. However, if you see a room full of people wearing kifaya and, you know,
and t-shirts
and stuff, and, like, you know, these protests have been going on for months now, and you haven't prepped yourself, I would be a little bit concerned. I would be thinking to myself, what do I do in this situation? So maybe there was some prep there, but some of those questions definitely feel like they were put on the spot.
Yeah, like, I think they should have known because of the protests that happened on October 7th, too. The one that's currently live on our Instagram at the Griff Online. Check it out.
Hi there, listeners. This episode of Griff After Dark features a strange vibrating noise. It's a cryptid, and we were scared to embattle it, encounter it, confront it. The Mothman was in MacEwan, and there's nothing we can do about it. So please enjoy the music being slightly louder than usual to cover it. What were we talking about before that thing?
Uncomfortable moments, Zach. Uncomfortable moments.
This is one of them.
Good.
We were talking about how there was a protest on October 7th as well. That I feel like they should have known it was going to happen.
I mean, and they're not just going to magically go away either. And we kind of talked about this internally a little bit. It's confusing sometimes when the institution on paper has a journalism program, but when you do journalism or you do stuff that challenges or serves the role or function of what it's supposed to do, journalism in this case, once it starts to break the boundaries of permissibility, people get pissed off and don't want it around anymore. But I'm like, you taught us to be this way. You told us to do this stuff. And now that it's inconvenient, we're not allowed to do it. And that just makes me want to do it more. as a personal note.
The other thing that was interesting is there was a bunch of photojournalism students in the room. The photojournalism class BCSE 323 was given that Day of the University address as an assignment to take photographs. And then in another journalism class, BCSE 397 was also, some students were sent to cover that as an event for a publication called the Edmonton Edge, which the MacEwan journalism program runs. And that is an interesting moment for your own students to be reporting on that. I don't think they were expecting there to be protesters when they sent these journalism students. But it's one of those things where like, oh yeah, now there's a thing happening, and as a journalism student, you adapt to that, and you cover that part of the story as well. So that's kind of interesting to watch in real time.
Speaking of things going on at school that contribute to the overall tension between students and the institution, you should know by now, loyal Griff listeners and readers, that they're thinking about getting rid of fall reading break. Liam and I have filmed an explainer, and will probably be out tomorrow. But yeah, that is a new and weird thing that is upsetting a lot of students as well. But it is a much more nuanced situation than I want it to be. Liam, can you give us a quick breakdown of what the fuck's going on there?
Yeah, so they're running out of time to do the exams, like space in the schedule. So MacEwan's been getting bigger. There's more programs. That's the big problem, actually, more programs, because more students, you can just run the exams at the same time in the same big ass gymnasium or whatever, right? But the more programs means the more instances of different exams. So they need to make the exam schedule bigger somehow to cram all those things in. But on the other end of things, they're running out of instructional hours because of all the additions of non-instructional days, like National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, or making Fall Reading Week a whole week back in 2020. So now they're like, okay, what do we do? Then their proposal now is just to cut Reading Week altogether, which I'm going to actually have an opinion on this one, because I feel like as a student, we all got stakes in this, and we're allowed to have some stays on this. I don't understand that, because they have the two bookends they're really intent on keeping, but they don't want to start before Labor Day. They don't want to start or finish exams further into December, into the winter break, because that's a problem for prerequisites classes, and also just being stressed out about exams over Christmas break. Nobody wants to do that. But why can't they just start earlier? That's my question.
What do you mean by start earlier?
Start the semester earlier.
Oh.
In August?
Because I'll kill myself.
Because I'll fucking clutch my pearls to death.
What I'm wondering is, if one of the biggest problems for us is that there's too many classes that have exams, how about we get rid of exams? What if exams inherently are just not testing your knowledge, but they're testing your memory. So fucking get rid of exams. The classes that don't need exams, essays.
Isn't that our program? I was going to ask, what's an exam?
I mean, that's a controversial take. But what if they get rid of exams and then I go to www.chatgpt.com and I get it to do it for me?
Then if they have this big expensive program that all the teachers brag about having that can actually check if it was run through ChatGPT, then use it. Prove to us that you can use it, and then get us in trouble. I don't give a fuck. I don't use it.
Yeah.
For the people who do, fuck them.
Okay.
Liam, go into ChatGPT right now and put in the answer. Just say, generate an answer. And see what it says.
All right.
What did ChatGPT bring up?
When I asked for an answer, it just said, sure, what question or topic do you need an answer for?
Okay, type in, write an essay about film noir existentialism. Let's see what happens, because if this is bullshit...
Yeah, and we'll do a word count. How many times it says conversely?
Oh, yeah, I love
Or
that word.
existentialism.
Existentialism. That's me writing it all.
Film noir and existentialism, a dark reflection on human experience. Film noir, a cinematic style that emerged in the early 1940s, is characterized by its moody visuals, morally ambiguous characters, and narratives steeped in pessimism and fatalism. While these films are often recognized for the stylistic
Jason's already
elements such
asleep.
as chiaroscuro lighting and urban settings, they also delve deeply into existential themes. What does that mean? I wonder. Yeah, that's like okay. Like that's fine. Like that's kind of like your first class in film noir with Jason. You learned a little bit about that.
He's already asleep. He's already bored. Like, you're done. But I feel like my take of getting rid of exams is not controversial. I think a lot of students feel it. They're just not willing to say it.
You should go to the protest on October 28th in front of the General Faculties Council, where they're going to do the vote, and you should tell them that.
See, that's a Monday for me.
What kind of protest is it, Liam?
It is a sit-in protest, and it's actually being organized by SAMU, which is interesting because I can't remember them ever doing this, at least the time I've been at MacEwan, doing their own organized protest. They've never done a tuition rally, which I think is interesting because that's a really easy way to get people riled up and excited about student governance. But now they're doing a sit-in, so that's cool.
I think that's pretty cool.
What do you think, Zach, as a radical leftist?
Well, I think a sit-in doesn't involve enough fire. I mean, what else are you going to do about this? It's you want to make your presence felt. You want to have your voice heard. Fill out the survey, show up, be pissed off, but don't get in a huge fight about it until they pass it. Then we can riot. Then we can flip cars.
Then we can start the fire.
What is the third topic for today?
Ethics of activism when it dips into journalism.
Yeah, how are you feeling about the statement that the Griff issued the other day about that?
It is publicly available on thegriff.ca.
Where can people find that now? Is it in the About Us?
Yeah, it's under the About tab and then ethics and standards of the Griff. Or you can scroll past the ad updates and you will see our proactive disclosure regarding staff and recent demonstrations. Any updates?
Yeah, I think journalists care about stuff. Otherwise, they wouldn't do this, right? And I think there's this really weird facade of neutrality, facade of objectivity that I'm opposed to. I'm very much sort of in the fringe of the new journalism mindset there. I don't think that you can pretend to be objective. And I think that deconstructing that and being better storytellers and serving community better involves the admission of that to create a standpoint from which all of your work can go through. So there are people who are politically active in the Griff, but we have a procedure that prevents them from just turning the Griff into all about them situation, and also maintains our integrity as a publication in terms of offering rights of reply, investigating all sides, quality reportage, which is in our slogan, in our motto. Basically, when someone's involved in that way, they're not allowed to touch a story that they're participating in. So, for example, if somebody was involved in protesting, and then there's a story about a protest that happens, they're not allowed to cover that story. And we're also not supposed to necessarily disclose our political activism activities if they have a chance of becoming newsworthy, because then another person with knowledge ahead of time cannot cover that ethically.
And this isn't even something that's new. Like when I was in my first year with the Griff just volunteering, I wasn't allowed to write a story about the Bolo Tie collective event because I was a part of it. So there's like certain things that we as journalists can't take part in because we're too close to the story.
That is true. But one thing about objectivity, I think, is we always talk about it as a goal, but we also need to recognize it's not really perfect. It's not possible to have perfect objectivity. And in that regard, what I think journalism people and like organizations are getting better at is transparency and letting people know, hey, this is a thing that's happening. we're just being honest with you guys. This is where we're at. This is kind of the direction we're coming from. And especially as students, like, that's the reality of being on campus. You're involved in so many different things. Yeah, we all got, like, it's a big Venn diagram with lots of overlaps and stuff. So just being transparent about where we're coming from and, like, what's going on, I think goes a long way.
It's also important to have balance in your newsroom teams for that reason, too, I think. Is there anything anyone else wants to say last minute?
Oh yeah, maybe we wanted to say a bit more about Reading Week, just in case. Actually, no, just go look at I wrote an article about it. It's pretty decent, I think, I hope. I interviewed some peeps about it in SAMU and some peeps about it in MacEwan. And if you want to know more about, like, the sticky details about Reading Week and why it's getting a vote to cut it, go check that one out.
Live on thegriff.ca. Thanks for joining us for The Griff After Dark.
Check out our Instagram page at The Griff Online for the latest on what's happening around MacEwan.
Ooh.
It's October.
Spooky season.
Say goodbye, Leanna.